say now your support are going to be enacted and become the law of the land, so to speak?
That one will start with Ms. Still, and interestingly, that was my very next moderator question, so I think I'll cross that one out. Go ahead.
Well, you could ask it again.
Well, hopefully that might not be the situation. Maybe we would have a Democratic majority, but in particular, I believe we'll have a Democratic governor, one who will champion this university. And so I think one thing I'm very concerned, what I think I really have to offer is I will be a strong voice. And if the Republicans are still in power, and if Ed Robb is still voting against his district on education for funding cuts that hurt his own district, I will speak up about that. I don't care if I have to buy an ad in the newspaper. The public is going to know about that. And that's part of one of the responsibilities you have as a state legislature, to be able to articulate things and help the public understand what the Republicans are doing.
Thank you, Ms. Still. Mr. Pund?
Well, I work as a legislative advocate, and I have friends from both sides of the aisle. And I think it's important to cultivate that and to not use rhetoric and not to go over the top, but to talk about issues and talk about real concerns of real people. And I think if we have that common ground, that we can build those bridges, and that's important to do. But there are some real differences between Republicans and Democrats now. Let's not get that wrong. There are some significant differences. And I think one thing that will help with term limits, a lot of the people that did a lot of the damage will be gone in a year or in 2 years. So at the very least, there will be a big turnover, but we do need to build those bridges, and I would have every intention of doing that.
Thank you, Mr. Pund. Mr. Spence?
Okay, here's the Sean Spence 3-stage plan for dealing with Republicans. Number one, I've got a level of experience that nobody else in this race has. I've spent a lot of time in the business world. And if you're going to be in the business world, you got to deal with a lot of Republicans. So I know a thing or two about getting what I want out of Republicans. Now that doesn't work a lot of the time, but it works some of the time, and you have to try. Okay, so there's a level of cooperation. Okay. Second, when the cooperation doesn't work, there's pushback. There's a little hind end kicking. So there's that, and there's putting in the fight. And the third is the soapbox, the power of the soapbox. And it isn't just paying for things. It's getting out there. And you all know, how many DFA members do we have here? How many people do we have in this room who have been on a canvas and worked for a candidate and worked for an issue and circulated a petition? This is about getting your hands dirty. It's about getting your feet on the ground. It's about wearing out your shoe leather. It's about getting there. And you cannot be a state legislator in Missouri anymore and just sit back and drink a bunch of lattes. You got to get there. You got to get out there. You got to knock on doors. You got to talk to people. You got to get the voters engaged. And that is what making real change is about. It's not about just legislating anymore. It's about leading. That's the 3-point Sean Spence plan.